You are in for a real treat now. Please welcome the spoken word of Matt Abbott.
Don't let them tell you the NHS is destined to be privatised. Dump you in a global recession and force you to acclimatise. Moralistic platitudes when Parliament's alive with lies told Murdoch will be laughing on the day democracy dies. From benefit cuts to the bedroom tax, we return to no Irish, dogs or blacks. Immigration Street, let's kick them out and boot them hard. What about tax evasion terrace, bankers bonus boulevard? I'm sick to death of bankers for bosses, millionaires inflicting losses on working folk who are skint and demoralised year after year of being politically colonised. Don't let the Tories inflict any more. They might have won the battle, but will win the war. Over the next 4 years, the art of protest must be mastered. If we all spit together, we can drown the set of bastards. Cheers. Right. Because I've never experienced homelessness, but obviously I witness it every day. So this is what I wrote. Now you see him, now you don't. Now you see him, now you don't. So a suit-wearing stranger slips in the street. What do? You check they're all right, if there's anything you can do to help. And you offer to call an ambulance and you buy him a bottle of water. Do everything you can to reach the good deed feed. And you carry on and see him off feeling snugly smug inside. The iPhone buzzes and the bus was on time, all well and good. But on the same street, someone slumps in a doorway. 1,000-yard stare and a warm can of Orange Boom 8.5. A rolled up cigarette. Last week's clothes, rather ironically, what you might call bed hair. And they might mumble, or they might well have conviction, when they ask you for less than you left in the tip jar at Costa. Only this time you don't stop, or check they're all right, and you know there is something you can do to help, but you carry on. Fucking ignore them. It's their fault, you think, their choice. But 50p costs a whole lot more than acknowledgement as a fellow human being. Let me ask you something. How many times do you see a homeless person with a dog and instinctively feel sorry for the dog? And the Save as a system in place, a system to help the homeless become human again for these inconvenient scourges on society. But if you take someone who sleeps in a doorway in the rain, or in a barn covered in crawling rats, or who shits himself with no fresh clothes, whose life is a never-ending Groundhog Day, walking the streets again and again and again, but with nothing to gain except for the next meal or the next hit, Christ alive, do you really think that they choose to turn back if the system was anything like what it should be? If the system was in place to meet the needs of the people that need it more than you could even imagine? Because they live in a parallel universe. And the system might seem reasonable within your expectations, keeping meetings at 3 p.m, 2 weeks on Wednesday. But this is a person who roams the streets 24/7, who's given up hope, given up trying, and the system somehow has given up on them too. If the people in place to help out have given up, how the fuck do you expect these to even start? When should vulnerability ever meet blindly with disdain? On this jolly game of snakes and ladders, 9 months of sacrifice and compliance, one tiny blip, and it's back to the start again. Why bother? Some will fail and maybe don't deserve a chance, but for once, allow them to enter a room as an equal and enjoy those simple words that everybody craves. I matter. Cheers. I wrote this poem in 2007 to combat the rise of the BNP, and unfortunately I still have to perform it now. It's very, very simple. My name is Matt Abbott. Thank you for listening. I'm going to finish with this. The British way of life. You go up the road to an Irish pub, sup some Belgian beer, nip out for some grub. You find the nearest takeout and eat a Turkish kebab. Get driven on by an Asian in the back of a German cab. You fall asleep in an armchair that you bought in a Swedish shop, watching American shows on a Japanese telly. Just tell me when to stop. The fact of the matter is they're talking shit. So don't vote UKIP. Love music, hate racism, and have a good night. Cheers. Thank you.